Good evening to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Thanks for the concern. I still have a bad throat. I may sound a little different, but I will take the session, should not be a problem. Today's editorial is all about a particular case in Tamil Nadu state, the case between the tribals, Adivasis, and the state government. An important editorial in the sense you may get as a passage, but chances are less. Important in the sense you can learn a lot of words. And whenever you come across an editorial related to any case for that matter, you should think of immediately a case based on some incident, someone files a case. Then you have to ask questions like what happened, when it happened, where it happened, why it happened, and how it happened, and finally you can who is responsible, you can ask who is involved, and finally any case the judgment, the verdict. This editorial is about a particular incident that happened way back in 1992 in the district of Dharmapuri, Tamil Nadu state. What happened there, based on the accusation, based on the allegation, based on the suspicion, about 200 plus government officers descended upon a village where there are about 600 plus tribal people, and they resorted to atrocities, rape, and other things. Allegation that tribal people hoarding sandalwood trees to help the sandalwood smugglers. That was the allegation. And based on that, the tribals filed a case. It took almost 30 years, 3 decades, to get the verdict. And the verdict has been in favor of the tribal people. And some disgusting words are there in the article. What do you mean by disgusting words? Who is this Pandu? Can you mention a few? I haven't seen any disgusting words. Anyhow, the tone of the article is one of righteous anger and condemnation. The attack condemned, as it vehemently, strongly criticizes the state led brutality and the government's failure to take action against the perpetrators. Perpetrator, a criminal. The government's failure to take action against the perpetrators, those who commit crime. It also carries a tone of optimism, celebrating the victory of the tribal community and the resilience of civil society and the judiciary in seeking justice on the positive side. I'm waiting for those words. Who is that Pandu? How does it start? Victory for the weak. In this context, a weak means a tribal people. You may not understand immediately, but the second part on justice and the Vachati verdict on justice to tribal people. And what is the case here? The Vachati verdict. Verdict means a judgment. Judgment you can write with the letter E, without E also it is correct. But what is the main idea? The Vachati judgment brings to a just closure the fight of a tribal people. There is one important word here, just closure. I'm sure those who are good at English, they know for sure the word just goes with present perfect tense. Which tense? Present perfect tense. What is the use? It is used to express a recently completed action. Someone goes out, someone else comes and asks, where is that person? He has just left. What will you say? He has just left. And we have to use a helping verb, the word just between the helping verb and the main verb. That is one meaning. But very good. I appreciate all those words. already, recently, lately, yet. And here, that is not something negative. That's what happened over there, Pandu. That's what happened. And what happened, they are trying to tell us, they are trying to report. No doubt you may get disturbed. They are disturbing, I do agree. But in this context, just closure has a different meaning altogether. Here, just means adjective. Just closure. Here, just means FAIR, fair. Also, perfect. Someone has been treated fairly or in a perfect manner. Then what do you say? Just treatment. She has got just treatment. Means what? Fair treatment. Just closure, perfect closure, correct closure, fair closure. That's what you have to understand. If you don't know the meaning of the word just, the second meaning, then you cannot understand this sentence. The Vachati judgment brings to a just closure the fight of a tribal people. Now, the editorial talks about what exactly happened, when it happened, where it happened, how it happened, why it happened, all these questions in a systematic way. A tribal community in Tamil Nadu that witnessed state led brutality, brutal, adjective, brutality, noun. Brutal means what? Savage, very cruel. Brutal attack, savage means animal like, very cruel. State led means led by the government, state government. State led brutality 3 decades ago, 30 years ago. Here, a common error, people say 3 decades back. Don't use the word back, 3 decades ago. 2 days back, no, 2 days ago. 3 decades ago has just one. Here, the word just has been used as the part of present perfect tense to convey a recently completed action. This just is different. This just is different. First one, just closure. Just means perfect, fair, correct. And here, just is used to convey the idea something has been completed recently. A tribal community in Tamil Nadu that witnessed a state led brutality 3 decades ago has just won a battle that reinforces, strengthens faith in the democratic process and the criminal justice system. Because the verdict came in favor of the tribal people, it reinforces or strengthens faith in the democratic process and also faith in the criminal justice system. Now, this victory, when did this judgment come? On September 29th, recent. This victory on September 29th at the Madras High Court signals a paradigm shift. Shift is a noun, paradigm adjective. That's an important word they've given in bank exams many a time. But you got to be careful with the pronunciation. Paradigm shift. Paradigm means perfect or typical. Typical example of something. Perfect example of something. You can also think of the word ideal example. But here, usually, when you talk about a person or a thing, he or she is a perfect example. There's a better word. You got to recollect the word epitome. He is the epitome of something. She is the epitome of something. And paradigm shift, perfect shift in Indian jurisprudence. An important word. Jurisprudence means legal system. What does it mean? Legal system. Within a particular area, it does not come under their jurisdiction. Their jurisprudence means a legal system. Here, this word is an important word. You may ask why. Answer my question. The word for in this context, is it a preposition or a conjunction? I'll wait for your response. Is it a preposition or a conjunction? This victory on September 29 at the Madras High Court signals a paradigm shift in Indian jurisprudence. For it is the first time. For is what in this example? For here is a conjunction, not a preposition. And here you have to Recollect four conjunctions. One for, second one as, then we have because, we have since. For and since, they can be prepositions, they can be conjunctions. You have to recollect. And for as, these two used for a weak reason, and because and since used for a strong reason. For it is the first time that a community of 655 Adivasis defeated the collective might of the state. There's another important word. Sentence talks about there's a paradigm shift in Indian jurisprudence or legal system. Why? State is very powerful, but in this context, why is it a paradigm shift in a legal system if you take jurisprudence? In this case, a community of 655 Adivasis defeated the collective might of the state. They defeated a state government. And there's one important word here, might. The first ordinal number, you have to use a definite article, the. Might, I am sure you all know two helping verbs. One may, the other one might. As helping verbs, may, might, they express a possibility. Then you wonder what is the difference. May chances are more, might chances are less. But here, might, which part of speech is it? Can you guess? In this context, what part of speech is the word might? Might of the state. That's what I'm asking Sonu. Here, might part of speech noun. It means power. It means what? Power. Power of the state, collective power of the state. It talks about the revenue officials, the police, and some other government, part of government machinery. So together, collective might. Noun meaning power. And if you read stories, olden days, now also any story, they write about kings. You come across the word mighty king. Mighty, part of speech, adjective. When we say mighty king, what does it mean? Powerful king. Mighty king, powerful king. So this sentence talks about paradigm shift in Indian jurisprudence because the a group of 655 Adivasis defeated the collective power or might of the state. The people of Vachati in Tamil Nadu's Dharmapuri district. Now it introduces a background information about the people and that particular incident. The people of Vachati in Tamil Nadu's Dharmapuri district, who for generations lived in the idyllic, you can say idyllic means perfect, beautiful, picturesque, all these words. Idyllic foothills of Chiteri in the eastern Ghats. That's where they live. Had their lives altered on June 20th, 1992. Had their lives altered. Here it is not in past perfect, it is in past. Had something changed, had something altered. What lives? On which date? June 20th, 1992. What happened on that date? Police, forest, and revenue officials, 269 in number, descended upon. Already have got the word descend many a time. Descend means what? Go up. What is opposite? Ascend. Ascend means what? Go up. Descend means what? Come down. You have got many a time. Ascend, descend. But I said I usually say ascend, descend. They go with mountaineering. But here descended upon the village means they went to the village together. A different meaning altogether. When a lot of people go to a particular village as a group, then we say they have descended upon the village. I always give another example. Imagine a group of elephants. A lot of elephants go to a particular village, attack the crops. Then we say a lot of elephants descended upon the village, a different meaning altogether. Police, forest, and revenue officials, 269 in number, descended upon the village and accused the villagers of hoarding illegally felled sandalwood and allowing a conduit to smuggling. Not easy to understand this sentence because of a few words. First word, important word, hoarding. Second word, very important, felled. Third word, for the first time we have come across conduit. Once you know the meanings of these words, you can understand the meaning of the sentence. I will take the first word. If you take hoard, it is a verb. And what is the ing form or present participle form? Hoarding. Hoarding can be a noun, can be a verb. First, what is the meaning of hoard? Hoard means to, yes, to hide something, to hide something illegally. I usually give a typical example. What is a typical example? Imagine the government says next week the price of petrol will go up. Then you see everywhere no stock boards. They have the stock petrol bunks, but they try to hoard. They store illegally. After 1 week they sell, they get the margin, they make a lot of money. And hoarding, as a verb, this is a meaning. Hoard petrol, provisions, important things. But hoarding is a noun. As a noun, it means advertisement board. When you go to any city, the downtown, you see major advertising boards. For those, we use the word hoarding, but that is British English. Americans don't use the word hoarding. For that, they use the word billboard. Both mean the same. Billboard. Hoarding here, uh, hiding illegally, storing illegally, illegally felled sandalwood. There's an important verb here. You all know the verb fall. I'm sorry. You all know the verb fall, fell, fallen. Irregular verb, already registered. But here, past form of fall is fell. We have a separate verb, fell, felled, felled, a regular verb. It means to knock down, to cut. Generally, we use it to convey the idea to cut down. Cut down what? You have to know the combinations. Trees. Once in Pushpa example, once in SBI, they gave a question. They fell many trees in our colony last week. Last week passed, fell past. So you many candidates thought no error. But we are not talking about fall, fell, fallen. We are talking about fell, felled, felled. The correct sentence, they felled many trees in our colony last week. So that is very important. And allowing a conduit to smuggling. Someone has written conduit, pipe, very good. One meaning. You can also write channel. Pushpa, I'm sure you all have seen the movie. These smugglers, they cut down the tree somewhere and they transport in that process so many stages, so many places. At some places, they may hide or they may hoard. This context talks about that. Allegation against the tribal people, they were hoarding illegally felled sandalwood trees and allowing a conduit to smuggling, a passage, a channel to smuggling. For the next 3 days, something very bad happened. What happened? For the next 3 days, the villagers, women, the elderly, and children included, were beaten up, their homes destroyed, wells poisoned, unacceptable, and 18 women, including a girl, are raped. Adding something like adding fuel to the fire, all this happened under the watch of Jayalalitha, who was a chief minister. It happened when a woman was the chief minister. Who is this? Uday Kumar. Welcome back. All this happened under the watch of an important phrase, Jayalalitha, who was a chief minister. So far, you have seen who are these tribal people, where do they live, and what happened on in the year 1992. Police, revenue officials, others, they descended upon the village and allegation, what is the allegation? Hoarding sandalwood trees and providing a conduit for the smugglers. Based on that, for 3 days, they had to see hell because of the atrocities against them. Wells poisoned, beaten up thoroughly. When someone is beaten up thoroughly, what is the idiomatic expression? beat someone black and blue means what? Beat someone severely. They were beaten up black and blue, and some women were raped, including a girl. Second part of the editorial talks about, based on this unfortunate incident, that tribal people wanted to fight. So they wanted to file a case. The state refused to register a case against its officials, forcing the villagers to approach the Madras High Court to seek a Central Bureau of Investigation inquiry. They approached the state. The state refused to register a case against its officials, and based on that, they were forced to approach the Madras High Court seek a CBI inquiry. Based on that, bashed up, beaten up, thrashed, all these you can use. The CBI filed its charge sheet in 1996. Look at the turn of events. It happened in 1992. 1996, a gap of 4 years, a charge sheet was filed, and the case was tried, past tense passive voice, by a sessions court in Dharmapuri for another 15 years. 1996, 15 years. What will be the, so 15 years, 19 years over. While the villagers won an unprecedented victory at the trial court in 2011, I think 1996, you add 15 years, 2011. See how long it has taken, 3 decades. While the villagers won an unprecedented, never seen before victory at the trial court, an important word. We have two words students get confused. One is a trial, the other one trail. What is the difference? Trial goes with a court, a case. Whenever you file a case, if you file a case, you're called plaintiff. This is an important word you have to remember. Plaintiff is a person who files a case. The other person is a defendant. I want to defend myself, I'm a defendant. And it may take 2 years, 3 years. Every time you have to go to the court with your lawyer. It is called a hearing. First hearing, second hearing, third hearing. Then you provide the evidence. Your opponent provides the evidence. But sometimes they try to provide false evidence. False evidence, an important word. What is the word? Alibi. Alibi, not correct. Alibi. False evidence. Then what happens? A judge may think someone is innocent, means not committed the crime, then the person is acquitted. The judge may think someone is guilty, that means committed the crime, then the person is convicted. And finally, the judge gives a judgment. We can also use the word verdict. You should know all these. Prima facie at the outset. Very good. While the villagers won an unprecedented victory at the trial court in 2011, what is the meaning of the word trail? Imagine you lost your way in the forest, you got strayed from your group, and you want them to know where you are, in which direction you are going. You take a few pebbles or a few branches, twigs. Wherever you go, you place the stones, unique stones, or those twigs or branches. This is a trail. You leave a trail behind. Accused, that convicted. Based on that, while the villagers won an unprecedented victory at the trial court in 2011, that convicted, they were found guilty, they were convicted, all the accused, on charges ranging from rape to atrocities. Atrocities, again, cruel behavior, it goes with atrocities against SCs and STs. Under the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989. But unfortunately, this order was stayed, past tense passive voice, by the Madras High Court on appeals by the bureaucrats. Who are bureaucrats? Bureaucrats, officials, administrators, IAS officers, IPS officers, all these. They went to the Madras High Court, they appealed for stay. The Madras High Court stayed. The order was stayed. It happens usually. Subsequent to that, what happened? Successive state governments under the DMK and the AIADMK chose to protect their bureaucrats. They wanted to protect. Any state government will try to protect the bureaucrats. Now he talks about why it is a paradigm shift. At a time when the judiciary has been present perfect active voice at odds, important expression. The judiciary has been at odds with the government means not they were at loggerheads. You have to recollect one important idiom. Loggerheads means what? Always arguing or opposing. They are always at loggerheads. Means they oppose each other or they argue all the time. So at odds means not at the same plane with the government over attempts to maintain the autonomy, independence of the three branches of governance. You take any government, there are three branches. What are the three branches? We have the executive, we have the legislature elected by the people, and we have the judiciary. For all these, we have to use a definite article, not in harmony. You can say that also. Ganesh, very good. We have to use a definite article, the executive, the legislature, the judiciary at odds with the government over attempts to maintain the autonomy of the three branches of governance. The High Court's judgment upholding, supporting the trial court's conviction, warns an elected government that it cannot rule with impunity. So the lower court gave the judgment in favor of the tribals, and the High Court's judgment upholding the trial court means supporting the trial court conviction wants an elected government that it cannot rule with impunity. Impunity, an important word, though we have got a few times. Part of speech noun means what? Exemption. Exemption from something, either tax or punishment. In this context, punishment. But here you have to recollect two important idioms. One is to go scot free. The sentence says, based on the High Court's judgment, it shows that government cannot go scot free. They are not immune to punishment. There are no exceptions when it comes to law. They don't have any. They cannot rule with impunity. Go scot free means what? To escape punishment. Very good. Escape punishment. How do people usually in the field of politics escape punishment? How do they go scot free? They make someone a scapegoat. Have you heard of this? This is also an important expression. They go hand in hand. Someone has not committed crime. Imagine a minister has done something wrong, involved in a scam, and he tells his right hand, a trusted person, you go to the police, or when the police come, you say you have committed that crime. And if you do that, I'll pay you huge sum of money. I'll take care of your family. And that person becomes a scapegoat, and the minister goes scot free. Usually, it is not intentional and deliberate. Without their knowledge, someone becomes a victim. Then you say he became a scapegoat. Later, they may come out on bail. That's a different story. And while the SC/ST law has often been an important rule, you have to recollect. At the outset, the word often is an adverb of frequency. There are four rules that go with adverbs of frequency. I will list out two of those rules. First one, whenever you have to use an adverb of frequency like always, often, repeatedly, you have to use between the subject and the verb regularly. Between the subject and the verb, first rule. But if there are two or more than two verbs, you have to use adverb of frequency after the first verb. What are the three verbs here? Has, been, and criticized. Three verbs. But you have to use adverb of frequency after the first one. So has often been criticized. This is important from the exam point of view. They have given many a time for being ineffective. So, what is the criticism when it comes to the law related to atrocities against SC/STs? often been criticized for being ineffective. Vachati is a rare instance where it has served its purpose, means justice has been done. This judgment is also a pivotal moment. Pivotal part of speech adjective, it means important, important moment in the long battle for Adivasi rights. Adivasi rights, a long battle, an important moment in the long battle for Adivasi rights. It will be remembered as a case. Now, this case in favor of tribals, it will be remembered, future passive voice. We will remember something, something will be remembered, passive voice. It will be remembered as a case where, despite, again you have to recollect, despite of common error, not correct. Despite India's stark inequities, distinct inequities, the convergence of converge, unite, diverge, oppose, convergence of an alert civil society, committed lawyers, and an independent judiciary, and the resolve, firm decision of victims seeking justice, could still work a democratic constitution and the judicial system to their advantage. What does it mean? When all these forces, four forces, one, responsible civil society, second, committed lawyers, third, independent judiciary, fourth, firm resolution of the tribal people to seek justice, it showed that it could still work a democratic constitution and a judicial system to their advantage. It showed that when all these people join hands, the system works to their advantage. So they got the judgment in their favor. An important editorial in the sense, so many important words always develop based on, see here what happens, some students may think this is a case related to some tribal people in some district in Tamil Nadu. So how is it important? When I do a session, I do from proficiency point of view. The Hindu editorial analysis for proficiency in English. That means what? This particular editorial provides you a context. And when you go through this, you develop contextual awareness. One advantage. You understand based on this context, this is how they use the sentences, they use the words, they use the phrases, and you learn vocabulary, lexical terms, if at all important idioms, phrasal verbs, phrases, prepositional combinations, grammar, a reading comprehension skill based on the topic, a case. Tomorrow you get some other case. No, no, listen to my analysis. I'm talking about the importance of reading a particular editorial and how to use it from the exam point of view, how to use that editorial. So, tomorrow, what happens in the exam, you may get a passage related to some other case. Then, same words you will get, same language dimensions you get, already a familiar context, you can easily comprehend and answer the questions effortlessly. That's what you have to look at. Don't look at the editorial in isolation. Take a holistic approach and do remember the context. That will help in the long run. Students are very eager to answer the questions based on comprehension skill. What event led to the significant changes in the lives of the people of Vachati in Tamil Nadu? It is not an earthquake, it is not a forest fire, it is not a political election. A state led operation, a state led brutality in 1992. What did the state government do when the villagers approached them to register a case against the officials involved in the Vachati incident? Please mention the question number. They immediately registered a case. I want at least one student response, then I will. They ignored the villagers' request. But look at all the options. They did not register, they refused actually. They conducted an internal investigation, not mentioned in the editorial. They formed a committee, not mentioned in the editorial. Second one is B. They did not register a case. The state, it talks about the state government refused to register a case. Based on that, the tribals approached the High Court asking for CBI inquiry. What law was used to convict the accused in the Vachati case? Indian Penal Code, SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989, Forest Conservation Act, Wildlife Protection Act. B. It is not IPC, it is not forest conservation, it is not wildlife protection. But looking at this question, there are two ways of looking at the question. One way, you answer the question, fine, there ends the matter. But if you are preparing for competitive exams, general awareness, then you have to recollect information, essential information related to IPC, related to Forest Conservation Act, related to Wildlife Protection Act. That is being a smart learner. What is this EMRS, TAPA? Advanced English deals with topics like parallel expression, redundancy, idioms, phrasal verbs, sentence patterns, important verbs which cannot be, let us say, causative verbs. Some verbs cannot be used in ing form. Perhaps that's what they're talking about. Advanced English, metaphors, similes, all these. What is the significance of the Vachati judgment in Indian jurisprudence? Have you answered? It signifies a paradigm shift in Indian jurisprudence. Paradigm shift. Very good. What warning does the High Court's judgment send to the elected government? What warning? It warns against interference in the judiciary. It warns against neglecting environmental issues. It warns against violating human rights. My pleasure. Ekalavya Model Residential School. Okay. It also deals with important phrases, standard phrases, important sentence patterns, all these. It warns against violating, not correct. Ruling with impunity. No one is an exception. Because I have a bad throat, say for the last 4 days, I've been suffering. Still, I'm managing. I haven't brought practice questions. From tomorrow, as usual, I'm going to bring practice questions, but focus will be on banks, a few questions, and also SSC, a few questions from tomorrow. Regular models, I will bring common topics. That way, those who are preparing for banks, those who are preparing for SSC, they can get benefited. These words, Saturday I could not do the editorial because of the sore throat, though I wanted to. But Saturday morning I did, and the words, these words, and this channel, you are not exposed to these words. See if you can answer. If you get all the 10 correct, you should be happy. But thank you very much, Ganesh. This is not easy. I will tell you easy words. This is not easy. Perhaps this is also not easy. Seven you should get. Three a bit difficult. I will bring fillers. I will bring para jumbles, scrambled sentences. I will bring a cloze test from tomorrow. We'll start with these. Phrase replacement. I'm going to bring. Thank you. Who is that? Sushma. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Attune. Part of speech. Guess the part of speech. It's a verb. Attuned. Attune means to make aware of, Saturday's editorial all about old age, elderly people, elderly population, about how they should be treated, the law, the protection, and the laws, though the laws are there, they are not aware, and they find filling up the forms a little cumbersome. Based on that, the editorial says we have to protect, we have to take care of. It's all about nurturing. There's one important word here: nurture elderly people. Saturday's editorial, to make aware of the government schemes related to elderly people. Implications singular, implications plural, obviously noun. What does it mean? Here you have to recollect or think of the word implied. Implied means what? Say something indirectly. Implications also means the same. Something indirectly may happen or may convey, make aware of. And implications, what are the implications? Ah. And second one, nurture, it's a regular verb. Usually it goes with kids, children, but based on the editorial, it goes with elderly people. Elderly people. Elude. Elude has a different meaning, Anusha. Elude means something you cannot get. Success has been eluding him. Means difficult to get success. A different meaning. Myriad ways. Part of speech, it can be a noun, it can be an adjective. Means what? Nurture means take care. Nurture means take care. Take care of someone till they grow. But here, elderly people, take care of. That's right, Monica. Myriad reasons, myriad ways means what? Many. Thank you. I appreciate your prompt response. Many. Simple word. Think of the word many. Counterparts, we have got many a time. Counterparts singular, counterparts plural. Someone at the same position, at the same level. Look after, very good. A phrasal verb. Look after someone. Exactly. There's one manager of a company in one country. Same company, there's a manager in some other country. How do they refer to each other? They say, he is my counterpart in the US. He is my counterpart in India. Vulnerable also, we have got many a time, part of speech adjective. To be in a position where you're likely to get exploited. To be in a weak position where you are likely to get exploited. Vulnerable situation. It takes the word situation. That's not the meaning. Vulnerable means are likely to get exploited. Exactly. Different place, same position, different person. Wonderful. In a weak position. Exactly. Susceptible also you can use, but that goes more with diseases. Susceptible to a particular disease. Quintile, I think a bit difficult for you guys. It means one fifth of something. Imagine something has been divided into five parts. Then one fifth, one part of the five parts is called quintile. We have got for the first time. Deprive is a regular verb. Deprive, deprived, deprived. Deprived of fundamental rights, deprived of privileges, deprived of the benefits, combinations. Not make someone not to have something. They have been deprived of the privileges. Means they cannot have the privileges. They have been deprived of the benefits. They cannot have the benefits. Geriatric adjective, an important word. Editorial all about old people. Based on that, obviously, related to old age, problems related to old age. Pawan Kumar, to restrict in a way, but make someone not have something. Deny is a better word. Yes, Tapa. Deny someone of something. Deprive. Very good. And cumbersome procedure, a typical combination. That means obviously adjective. Cumbersome procedure, cumbersome activity, cumbersome. It has two meanings. One meaning, cumbersome means a heavy, cumbersome work. And burdensome also you can say. Who is it? Isaac. Very good. And it also means complicated. Based on the context of the editorial, complicated. Good, Naidu. That's all for today. Don't be disappointed I haven't brought the practice questions. From tomorrow, you're going to have practice questions as well. And I'm going to bring important exam topics, higher level, a little complicated. Let's see how you're going to handle. Thanks for being with me till the fag end of the session. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you. Tomorrow, actually, they may not publish. Today is a public holiday. Before I wind up the session, please listen. Tomorrow, today is a public holiday. They haven't published, or tomorrow they may not publish. If they don't publish the editorial, still I will have a session. I will teach something important, or I'll bring practice questions. You can work on the practice questions. You will have a session tomorrow at 7. Be prepared for that. And do remember to subscribe and share. Thank you very much.